No one asked what she wanted until a human chose to protect her, not use her. Lieutenant Marcus Reed had seen his share of corporate facilities across the Orion Arm, but something about the Meridian Institute made his skin crawl. The pristine white corridors felt too clean, too sterile, like they were hiding something beneath their perfect surface. This way, Lieutenant, Dr. Talia Vale gestured, her heels clicking against the polished floor. Our research subjects are kept in the secure wing. Your inspection shouldn't take long. Marcus noted how she said subjects instead of people. After 15 years in the Colonial Defense Force, he'd learned to pay attention to such details. His superior had warned him about this place, a facility that officially studied human potential enhancement, but had drawn concerning rumors. They passed through 3 security checkpoints, each more stringent than the last. Marcus's military credentials barely earned him access, even though this was supposed to be a routine inspection. Dr. Vale's smile never reached her eyes as she explained their work, clinical terms about genetic advancement and evolutionary acceleration. Then he saw her. The girl sat cross-legged in a bare room, separated from the corridor by a transparent barrier that shimmed with energy fields. She couldn't have been more than 20, with dark hair that fell past her shoulders and eyes that seemed to hold entire galaxies. She didn't look up when they approached. Subject N-17, Dr. Vale announced proudly. Our most promising case. She can manipulate quantum probability fields. Quite extraordinary, really. Watch this. Before Marcus could object, Vale pressed a button on her tablet. A series of holographic targets appeared in the girl's room. N-17, demonstrate. The girl, not N-17, Marcus thought fiercely, raised her hand with mechanical obedience. The air around her rippled like heat waves over desert sand. 3 targets shattered in impossible ways, their particles refusing to follow normal physics. Magnificent, isn't it? Vale beamed. We're still working on precision control, but... What's her name? Marcus interrupted. Vale blinked. I'm sorry. Her actual name, not her designation. Oh. Vale waved dismissively. Naya Visser. But that's hardly relevant to A. How long has she been here? Lieutenant, I don't see how that pertains to your inspection parameters. Marcus turned to face Vale fully, using his height to his advantage. The Colonial Defense Force's mandate includes ensuring ethical treatment of enhanced individuals. That makes everything about her relevant to my parameters. Vale's smile tightened. 7 years. She came to us voluntarily at 13 when her abilities manifested. Her parents understood the importance of proper research and containment. Marcus looked back at Naya. She still hadn't moved, hadn't shown any reaction to them discussing her. But something in her stillness spoke volumes. He'd seen that kind of stillness before, in soldiers who'd been prisoners of war, in refugees who'd lost everything. It wasn't peace. It was survival. I'd like to speak with her. Alone. That's not protocoled. Doctor, Marcus cut in smoothly, would you prefer I note in my report that you refused a reasonable request during an official inspection? Vale's jaw clenched, but she nodded curtly. 5 minutes. The barrier stays active. She walked away, her posture rigid with disapproval. Marcus waited until Vale's footsteps faded. Then he crouched down, bringing himself to Naya's eye level. Hello, Naya. I'm Marcus. For a long moment, she didn't respond. Then, slowly, her eyes met his. The weight of her gaze hit him like a physical force. You're different, she said softly, her voice rough from disuse. You look at me, not through me. I see you, Marcus confirmed. And I'd like to hear what you have to say, not what they want you to show me. Naya's fingers twisted in her lap. They don't let me say things. Only do things. They're not here right now. Just me. She glanced at the ever-present cameras, and Marcus understood. He pulled out his military-grade sensor scrambler, officially for checking facility security systems, and discreetly activated it. The cameras would show only a loop of their previous conversation. 2 minutes, he said quietly. Tell me the truth. Are you here willingly? Tears welled in Naya's eyes, but didn't fall. They told my parents I was dangerous, that I needed to be studied, controlled. They said it was temporary. Her voice cracked. That was 7 years ago. I haven't seen outside these walls since. Marcus felt cold anger settle in his chest. What do they do to you here? Tests. Always tests. They want to understand how I affect probability fields. Sometimes it hurts. But if I don't cooperate, they use the suppressants, and those hurt more. She looked down at her hands. I'm not a person to them. I'm a breakthrough waiting to happen. What do you want, Naya? She looked up sharply, startled by the question. What? If you could choose. What do you want? A tear finally escaped, tracing down her cheek. I want to see the stars again. Real ones, not holograms. I want to choose when to use my power, and how. I want. She took a shaking breath. I want to be free. Marcus stood, decision made. I'm coming back for you. Fear and hope warred in her expression. They'll never let me go. They won't have a choice. He deactivated the scrambler as footsteps approached. Thank you for the demonstration. In 17, he said loudly as Vale returned. The rest of the inspection passed in a blur. Marcus documented everything with perfect military precision, noting nothing out of the ordinary in his official report. But his mind was already racing, planning. Because he had seen what they had created here, not a research facility, but a prison. Not a subject, but a slave. And Marcus Reed had not spent 15 years defending humanity's colonies to let this kind of corruption persist. As he left the facility, he sent 2 encrypted messages. The first to his most trusted contacts in the Colonial Defense Force, requesting detailed facility schematics and security protocols. The second to an old friend who operated less legally, but more ethically, than most. Hold on, Naya, he thought. Freedom is coming. In his pocket, his sensor scrambler hummed with recorded evidence of everything he'd seen. Soon, the Meridian Institute would learn what happened when they caged someone's soul. More importantly, Naya would learn what happened when someone finally saw her as human. 3 weeks of planning culminated in 30 seconds of chaos. Marcus checked his chronometer one final time as he approached the Meridian Institute's security gate. The guard recognized him from his previous inspection, nodding as he verified Marcus's credentials. Right on schedule. Another inspection so soon, Lieutenant? The guard asked. Follow-up questions, Marcus replied smoothly. You know how bureaucracy works. At precisely 2:17 local time, the facility's power grid hiccuped. A minor fluctuation, barely noticeable, except to those who had engineered it. As backup systems engaged, creating a 3-second gap in the security network, Marcus moved. The guard never saw the stun pulse coming. Marcus's boot prints echoed through empty corridors as he ran, counting turns. His contact in Colonial Intelligence had provided detailed schematics, including staff rotations. At this hour, skeleton crew only. Still, he encountered 2 researchers, both dropping to stun pulses before they could raise alarms. He reached Naya's cell as klaxons began to wail. Someone had found one of his victims. Stand back, he called to her. Naya pressed herself against the far wall as Marcus planted the shaped charge on the barrier's power junction. The explosion was hardly more than a pop, but the energy field dissolved like morning mist. You came, Naya whispered, wonder and fear mingling in her voice. I promised. He handed her a pack. Change quickly. We have 4 minutes until security response teams arrive. She pulled on the plain clothes he'd brought, simple jumpsuit, boots, jacket. No more institutional white. As she moved, Marcus noticed fresh bruises on her arms. They've been pushing harder, she explained, catching his look. Ever since your inspection. Like they knew time was running out. Marcus's jaw tightened. They were right about that part. He checked the corridor. Ready? Naya nodded, then hesitated. The others, there are more like me here. I know, but we can't help them right now. First, we get you out. Then we come back stronger. Security forces were converging on their position. Marcus led them through maintenance tunnels, following the escape route he'd mapped. Twice they encountered guards. Twice Naya raised her hand, and probability shifted just enough to make weapons jam, footsteps stumble. They emerged into the facility's loading dock just as their ride arrived. A cargo shuttle descended, its pilot expertly threading between buildings. The rear hatch opened to reveal a familiar face. You're late, called Ryu Zhang, Marcus's old squad mate from his special operations days. Now he ran a private shipping company that specialized in moving things and people that powerful organizations would rather keep contained. Punctual as ever, Marcus shot back. He helped Naya aboard just as plasma bolts began cutting through the air around them. Hold on, Ryu shouted. The shuttle lurched upward, acceleration compensators straining. Naya grabbed Marcus's arm, her other hand extended toward their pursuers. Reality rippled, and 3 security skimmers attempting to follow them suffered simultaneous engine failures. Impressive, Ryu whistled. No wonder they kept you locked up. They broke atmosphere in under 2 minutes, Rya's expert piloting and illegal engine mods leaving pursuit far behind. Only when they achieved orbit did Marcus allow himself to breathe normally. Naya stood at a viewport, trembling as she stared at the stars. Real ones, just as she'd wished for. Tears streaked her cheeks. "Thank you," she whispered. "Don't thank me yet," Marcus warned. "This is just the beginning. They'll come after us with everything they have. Let them." There was steel in her voice now. "I'd rather die free than live as their experiment." "No one's dying," Rhea called from the cockpit. "We're headed to Outpost 7. Off-grid trading station in the Vegas sector. Good place to disappear for a while." Marcus nodded. He'd chosen Outpost 7 carefully, technically independent, practically lawless, but with a strict code about protecting those who bought sanctuary. More importantly, it was run by people who hated corporate overreach as much as he did. "Get some rest," he told Naya. "It's a 12-hour flight." She shook her head. "I can't. Everything feels too big, too real." Marcus understood. Freedom could be overwhelming when you've lived so long without it. "Then let's talk. Not about escape plans or what comes next. Just talk. What do you like? What do you dream about?" Slowly, hour by hour, Naya's story emerged. She loved music, though she'd only heard recordings in her cell. She was fascinated by ancient Earth history. She wanted to learn to dance. Simple things, human things, denied to her for so long. "They tried to make me forget I was a person," she said as the station appeared on their scanners. "But I held on to little pieces. The sound of my mother's laugh. The color of sunset. The name my parents gave me." "You're not just a person," Marcus told her. "You're a remarkable one." Rhea's voice interrupted them. "Heads up. We've got company at the station. Meridian corporate ships." Marcus cursed. "How did they get here so fast?" "They didn't," Ryu said grimly. "They were already here. Almost like they knew we were coming," Marcus finished. His mind raced through possibilities, each worse than the last. Someone talked. Someone knew the plan. Naya's face had gone pale, but her voice was steady. "What do we do?" Marcus met her eyes. "Your choice. We can try another station, stay on the move. Or we fight. Show them exactly what happens when they underestimate the people they've tried to cage." A smile spread across Naya's face, the first real one he'd seen. Around them, reality shimmered with possibility. "I choose fight," she said. Rio laughed from the cockpit. "I was hoping you'd say that. Strap in, kids. This is where things get interesting." As they accelerated toward the station, Marcus realized something had changed in Naya's eyes. The fear was still there, but it no longer controlled her. She had tasted freedom, and she would never go back. The universe, he suspected, wasn't ready for what that meant. The battle for Outpost 7 lasted less than an hour, but its consequences would echo for years to come. When the dust settled, 3 Meridian corporate ships drifted powerless in space, their systems scrambled by impossible probability cascades. On the station's promenade, a dozen security officers lay unconscious, victims of perfectly timed equipment malfunctions and precision stun blasts. And in docking bay 17, Naya stood surrounded by fallen attackers, her hands still trailing quantum distortions as she caught her breath. "That," said a voice from behind her, "was absolutely beautiful." The speaker emerged from behind a stack of cargo containers, a tall woman with silver-streaked black hair and an easy smile that didn't quite hide the calculation in her eyes. Behind her came 2 others, a broad-shouldered man with cybernetic arms and a slender figure whose species Naya couldn't quite determine. "Captain Reza Santos." The woman introduced herself. "This is my crew. Well, part of it. And we just watched you turn a corporate strike team into a physics lesson." Marcus raised his rifle slightly. "You were watching instead of helping?" "Oh, we helped," the cybernetic man rumbled. "Who do you think scrambled their comms?" "Name's Dante, by the way. And I ensured their reinforcements received incorrect coordinates," added the third figure in a melodious voice. "I'm Vex. My species doesn't translate well to human language, but they works fine." Ryu emerged from their shuttle, grinning. "Reza, I should have known you'd be involved in this mess somehow." "Ryu Zhang," Reza drawled. "Still flying that garbage scow? Still pretending you're just a simple freight hauler?" "Never pretended that." Reza turned back to Naya and Marcus. "Here's the deal. You need to disappear. We need someone with your particular talents. Specifically, your talent for making impossible things happen and your talent for pissing off corporations. Want to join forces?" Before Marcus could object, Naya asked, "What exactly do you do?" "Officially? Independent shipping and logistics. Unofficially? We make sure resources get to people who need them, not just people who can pay for them. Sometimes that means medicine to outer colonies." Sometimes it means evidence of corporate crimes to journalists. Sometimes it means getting people to places they're not supposed to be. And sometimes, Dante added, it means showing the powers that be that they're not as powerful as they think. Marcus studied them. You're revolutionaries. We prefer problem solvers, Vex said. Less dramatic, more accurate. Naya looked at Marcus. What do you think? He considered their options. They needed allies, resources, and a way to move undetected. More than that, Naya needed people who would see her as a person, not a weapon. Your ship. Your choice. She turned to Reza. I want to help people. Not hurt them, help them. Is that something you do? Kid, that's all we do. Reza's smile softened. And unlike some people, we'll never tell you how to use your abilities. We'll just give you chances to use them for something that matters. 2 hours later, they were aboard Reza's ship, the Starweaver. It was larger than Ria's shuttle, with enough space for both cargo and comfort. Naya had her own cabin for the first time in 7 years. It's not much, Dante said as he showed her around, but it's home. Over the next 3 months, it became her home too. She learned that Dante's cybernetics were his choice, not from injury. He was an engineer who believed in literally understanding his work from the inside out. Vex was a refugee from a dimension humanity hadn't contacted yet, with an understanding of spatial mathematics that made Naya's power look simple. And Reza had once been a corporate executive herself, until she saw too much and decided to change sides. They taught her everything they knew. Dante showed her ship systems and self-defense. Vex taught her meditation techniques that helped her focus her abilities. Reza instructed her in the art of reading people and situations. And Marcus, ever watchful, helped her learn to trust her own judgment. More importantly, they showed her how to live free, how to choose clothes, food, entertainment, how to laugh without fear, how to dream beyond survival. Their work took them across the galaxy's edge worlds. They delivered vaccines to a colony abandoned by its corporate sponsors. They extracted whistleblowers from dangerous situations. They protected ships carrying refugees from worlds stripped bare by resource extraction. And sometimes, they struck directly at the powers that would cage people like Naya. You're a natural at this, Reza told her one night, after Naya had used her powers to ensure a Meridian data center's security systems experienced critical failures just long enough for Vex to download proof of illegal experiments. Not the power stuff, the helping stuff. It feels right, Naya replied. Like this is what my abilities were meant for. She still had nightmares about the Institute. Still flinched at unexpected touches. Still struggled with decisions sometimes, the weight of choice heavy after so long without it. But she was healing. Then came the message that changed everything. It's from inside Meridian, Marcus said, decoding the transmission. Someone claiming to be a researcher. They say there are others like you, Naya. Dozens of them. And something worse is coming. A trap, Dante suggested. Probably, Reza agreed. But if it's not? Naya stood at the Starweaver's viewport, watching stars streak by. Once, she had dreamed of seeing them. Now she traveled among them, working to ensure others could share that freedom. We have to try, she said. Even if it's a trap. Because I remember what it was like, thinking no one would ever come for me. Thinking no one would ever see me as human. She turned to face her crew, her family. We have to try. Marcus stepped beside her. Whatever you choose, I'm with you. We all are, Reza said. That's what family means. Naya smiled, feeling quantum possibilities dance around her fingers. She wasn't the scared girl in a cell anymore. She was something new, something of her own choosing. Then let's go show Meridian what happens when they make enemies of people who know how to change probability. As the Starweaver changed course, Naya felt something she'd never experienced in all her years of captivity. Purpose. Not the purpose others had tried to force on her, but one she had chosen for herself. She was going to set her people free, and heaven help anyone who tried to stop her. The message had come from Dr. Talia Vale. The same woman who had treated Naya like a laboratory specimen now claimed she wanted to help. It's definitely a trap, Dante said as they gathered in the Starweaver's command center. She was part of it all. Maybe that's why she reached out, Naya countered. She saw everything. Maybe she finally understood it was wrong. The coordinates Vale provided led to a research outpost on Europa, Jupiter's ice-covered moon. Official records showed it as a deep space communications facility. But Vex scans revealed something else entirely. The power consumption is massive, they reported, displaying holographic readouts. And these particle signatures, they match the quantum distortions Naya produces, but amplified. How many others are trapped there? Naya asked quietly. At least 15 distinct energy signatures, Vex answered. Maybe more. Reza studied the station schematics they'd obtained. Security's tight, but not impossible. The real question is why Vale contacted us now. Because Phase 2 is about to begin, came a new voice. They spun to find Dr. Vale stepping out of the shadows, hands raised. Behind her stood Marcus, his expression grim. How did you? Dante began, cybernetic arms shifting to combat mode. Because I let her aboard, Marcus interrupted. Because this goes deeper than any of us knew. Naya felt reality fluctuate around her, responding to her surge of emotion. You betrayed us. No, Vale said quickly. He protected you. When he discovered I was tracking you, he could have shot me. Instead, he listened. She looked at Naya with something like regret. What we did to you was unforgivable, but what's coming is worse. Explain, Reza ordered, her hand never straying far from her weapon. Quickly, Meridian isn't just studying quantum manipulation, Vale said. They're weaponizing it. The Europa facility, it's a prototype. They're using people like Naya to create tears in reality itself. Controlled ruptures in space-time. Why? Vex demanded, their form shifting with agitation. Because quantum weapons can't be traced, can't be defended against. Imagine being able to make an enemy ship's hull simply cease to exist, or make a planet's core temporarily stop spinning. Vale's voice shook. I helped design the project. I told myself it was for defense, for protection. But then I saw the buyer's list. She handed Reza a data crystal. The captain slotted it into a reader, and names scrolled across the display. Warlords, Dante growled. Extremist groups. Corporate military contractors. And governments, Reza added. All of them bidding for weapons that they're going to link all the subjects together, create a quantum web powerful enough to tear a hole in space-time. A demonstration for potential buyers. It'll kill them, Vex said. That much quantum manipulation. Their bodies can't handle it. Why should we trust you? Naya demanded of Vale. After everything you did. Because I'm dying, Vale replied simply. The quantum radiation from the experiments. It affects researchers too, just more slowly. I have weeks left, at most. And I want my last act to mean something better than what I've done before. Silence fell as they absorbed this. Finally, Marcus spoke. The plan was always to free the others. This just means we do it now. With an entire corporate army waiting for us, Dante pointed out. No, Naya said thoughtfully. They won't be expecting us. Because Dr. Vale is going to walk right through the front door, with a captured quantum asset in custody. Reza smiled slowly. Now that's the kind of crazy I like to hear. But you'd be putting yourself at risk. They hurt me for 7 years, Naya replied. They're hurting others right now. And they want to sell weapons that could tear reality apart. Her eyes met Marcus's. Sometimes you have to risk everything to do what's right. The plan came together quickly. Vale would return to Europa with Naya as her prisoner, claiming to have captured her alone. Meanwhile, the Starweaver's crew would infiltrate the facility through maintenance tunnels Vex had discovered in the schematics. Remember, Vale warned as they prepared, the other subjects may not trust us at first. They've been conditioned, manipulated. I know what to say to them, Naya assured her. I lived their nightmare. Just before they parted to take their positions, Marcus pulled Naya aside. I'm sorry I didn't tell you about Vale sooner. I needed to be sure. I understand, she said. You were protecting us. Like always. Be careful in there. If anything feels wrong, I'll make probability work in our favor. She smiled. That's what family taught me. As their shuttle approached Europa's icy surface, Naya felt not fear, but determination. She had been a prisoner, an experiment, a weapon. But now she was something else, a key to others' freedom, a chance for redemption, a force for change. The facility's landing pad extended from the ice like a metal flower. As they descended, Naya saw her reflection in the shuttle's viewport. She looked different than the girl who had escaped the Institute months ago. Stronger. Surer. Ready. Final chance to back out, Vale murmured as they prepared to disembark. Naya felt quantum energy dance along her skin, responding to her will, not their commands. We end this today, she said. One way or another. She allowed Vale to lead her in chains toward the facility's entrance, where guards waited. Above them, Jupiter hung massive in the black sky, a reminder of how far she'd come from that sterile cell. And somewhere in the tunnels below, her family was moving into position, ready to help her tear down another prison. The doors hissed open. Naya took a deep breath and stepped forward, feeling reality twist with possibilities around her. It was time to set her people free. The holding cells in Europa's facility were different from the Institute's. No transparent barriers, no sterile white walls. Just solid metal doors with quantum dampeners, designed to contain powers that could reshape reality. As guards escorted them through the corridor, Naya counted 15 doors. 15 lives waiting to be sacrificed for Meridian's weapon. Her fingers twitched, wanting to tear the doors open immediately, but she forced herself to wait. Timing was everything. Impressive catch, Dr. Vale, the facility director said, studying Naya through cold eyes. "No, I'm curious how you managed it alone." "She's been away from the suppressants too long," Vale replied smoothly. "Makes them sloppy, overconfident." She tightened Naya's restraints for show. "We should begin integration immediately. Phase 2 can't wait." "Indeed." The director pressed his palm to a scanner, opening a massive door marked Integration Chamber. "The buyers are already gathering for the demonstration. 48 hours to weaponize chaos itself." The chamber beyond was a nightmare of steel and circuitry. 16 pods arranged in a circle, each connected to a central pillar that hummed with barely contained power. Through the chamber's viewport, Jupiter's swirling storms seemed to echo the quantum distortions filling the room. "Beautiful, isn't it?" the director mused. The power to rewrite the laws of physics, harvested from human batteries who would otherwise waste their gifts on trivial matters like free will. Naya met Vale's eyes. "Not yet. Not quite yet." The door hissed open again. Guards entered, escorting the other subjects. 15 people, ages ranging from teenager to elderly, all wearing the same blank expressions Naya had once worn. All trying to hide their fear behind emptiness. "Begin integration sequence," the director ordered. Dr. Vale, secure subject N17 in the primary pod. Her experience with quantum manipulation makes her ideal as the focal point. Vale led Naya to the central pod. As she pretended to check the restraints, she whispered, "The others are in position. 30 seconds." Naya looked at her fellow prisoners as they were secured in their pods. "I'm sorry," she said loudly enough for all to hear. "I'm sorry it took so long for someone to see you as human." The director laughed. "Human? You're so much more than human. You're the future of warfare." "No," Naya said. "We're the future of freedom." The lights went out. In the darkness, reality fractured. Naya's restraints, never actually locked, fell away as she reached for her power. Around her, quantum dampeners failed as Dante's viral code infected the facility's systems. Above, Vex's mathematical genius created sensor ghosts that sent security teams running in wrong directions. "Stop them," the director shouted. "The integration must." Ray's stun blast caught him mid-sentence. Guards poured in, only to find their weapons transformed into abstract art by probability fields gone wild. Because Naya wasn't fighting alone anymore. One by one, the other subjects realized their powers were no longer contained. Reality rippled as 15 different quantum manipulators tasted freedom and found it sweet. "Listen to me," Naya called out as chaos erupted. "You don't know me, but I was like you. Caged. Used. But we're not experiments. We're people. And people deserve to choose." A teenage boy was the first to step forward, his pod crumpling like paper as he flexed his powers. Then an elderly woman, her quantum field merging with his. One by one, they joined their powers not to tear reality apart, but to protect each other. Marcus and his team fought their way to the control room, securing their escape route. Vale worked frantically to disconnect the integration system before its overload could rupture space-time. And through it all, Naya reached out to each of her fellow prisoners, showing them a future beyond walls and tests and pain. "They'll keep hunting us," a woman warned as they fought their way toward the exit. "Let them try," Naya replied. "We're stronger together." They emerged onto Europa's icy surface as explosions began deep below, the facility's quantum core destabilizing. The Starweaver waited, its cargo bay open in welcome. But more ships were approaching. Corporate security forces, private armies, governments unwilling to lose their investment in weapons of mass reality destruction. 16 quantum manipulators stood in the ice and starlight. 16 people who had been treated as things. 16 sets of eyes meeting, understanding, choosing. They raised their hands together. Probability cascaded. Physics took suggestions rather than orders. Ships found themselves gently but firmly redirected into stable orbits, their weapons systems transformed into entertainment centers, their crews suddenly dealing with an overwhelming urge to reconsider their career choices. As they boarded the Star Weaver, Naya turned to Vale. "Will you come with us?" The scientist shook her head, her condition visibly worse after the battle. "My time's almost up, but I'll make sure the evidence we gathered reaches every news outlet in settled space. The truth about what they did, what they planned. Everyone will know." "Thank you," Naya said softly, "for choosing to help, in the end. Thank you for showing me it's never too late to choose differently." The Starweaver lifted off as the facility collapsed behind them, carrying 16 newly freed quantum manipulators and the crew that had risked everything to save them. In the cargo bay, strangers became friends as stories were shared, tears were shed, and plans were made. "What now?" Marcus asked as Naya joined him on the bridge. She watched Jupiter's storms below, so like the quantum fields they all commanded. "Now we keep fighting. There are others out there, people being used and caged. And now we have a family big enough to help them all." Reza laughed from the pilot's seat. "Recruiting more crew already?" "Always," Naya smiled. "Because that's what saved me. Not just breaking free, but finding people who saw me as human, who gave me the chance to choose who I wanted to be." She felt the quantum energy flowing through the ship, 16 different signatures harmonizing into something new. Not a weapon to break reality, but a force to reshape it. Not power to cage, but strength to free. "Set course for the outer colonies," she said. "I hear there are people there who could use some impossible probability in their favor." As the Starweaver jumped to faster-than-light speed, Naya felt something she had once thought lost forever. Hope. Not just for herself, but for everyone still waiting to be seen, to be freed, to be given the chance to choose their own story. After all, in a universe where reality itself could be rewritten, anything was possible. Especially freedom.